Hello and welcome to the course. In this lecture, we will explore another key technology of 5G, that is orthogonal frequency division multiplexing or OFDM. So OFDM was already popular in 4G, and understanding why it replaced single carrier transmission will help us appreciate its role in 5G. One of the biggest challenges in mobile networks is serving millions of users simultaneously. Mobile operators like Airtel or any network provider distribute SIM cards to users without concern about network congestion. Have you ever thought how that network provider serves all those users simultaneously without any interference? So understanding OFDM will help answering that. Let us first understand the role of bandwidth and issue with high bandwidth. So what bandwidth is? So bandwidth is the maximum amount of data that can be transmitted over a network in a given time. It represents that like the width of a highway determining traffic flow. We already know that data rate is equals to system bandwidth multiplied by spectral efficiency. From the previous lecture, we saw that the data rate, that is capacity in bits per second per hertz, it is related to SNR with this curve, and that's what Shannon said. So let's say suppose a channel is operating at some SNR where according to Shannon the capacity is 3 hertz, 3 bits per second per hertz. So if the bandwidth is 100 megahertz, then the total data rate for this particular case will be equals to 3 bits per second per hertz multiplied by 100 megahertz. This will be equals to 300 megabits per second. So if we see, data rate is directly proportional to bandwidth. That means more bandwidth is equals to higher data rate. But it also introduces new challenges. If we see transitions from 3G to 5G, 3G systems used only 2 to 5 megahertz of bandwidth. 4G expanded to 20 megahertz. 5G increased this further to 100 megahertz or more. While increasing bandwidth allows for faster data rates, it complicates signal transmission. In case of single wideband carrier where each symbol occupies whole bandwidth, for example, when using 100 megahertz, if the entire bandwidth is treated as one single unit, what we face? We face shorter symbol durations. A wider bandwidth means that symbols must be transmitted more quickly. If bandwidth is equals to 100 megahertz, in that case, symbol duration is typically inverse of it, and that is equals to 1 by 100 megahertz, which will be almost 10 nanoseconds. So this rapid transmission makes signal more vulnerable to interference. If we see the channel, it changes for different frequencies, and estimating this channel or nullifying its effect at receiver called equalization is difficult. First, let's understand why this channel changes with time and frequency. What is a multipath channel? So when a base station transmits a signal, the signal doesn't always travel directly to the receiver. Instead, it bounces off obstacles such as walls, buildings, vehicles, other objects in the environment. That is, this is base station, and here we have mobile. So the signal does not transmit directly, but it reflects from the trees, from the buildings, nearby buildings, and it reaches to mobile phone. These reflections create multiple copies of the same signal arriving at the receiver at slightly different times. This phenomenon is known as multipath channel. Since all the signals combine at the receiver, the final signal is often distorted. This distortion or variation in channel comes with frequency, as the signal with different frequencies diffracts differently from multiple environmental objects like trees and buildings, thus making signals harder to decode at receiver. And why is channel estimation difficult? Since in 5G, we use 100 megahertz of bandwidth. More is the bandwidth, the signal experiences more changes across frequencies. This means the channel conditions vary significantly over the 100 megahertz spectrum, and estimating the entire channel for every transmission is extremely difficult. In 3G system, this was a major roadblock because they used single carrier transmission where the entire bandwidth was treated as one unit. In simpler terms, if you increase the bandwidth, for example from 2 MHz in 2G to 100 MHz in 5G, the complexity of channel estimation increases significantly. So how does OFDM solve this problem? To address this challenge, engineers adopted a divide and conquer approach, breaking the wideband channel into multiple smaller frequencies called subcarriers using OFDM. So how does it work? Instead of using a single wideband carrier, OFDM divides this 100 MHz bandwidth into thousands of smaller subcarriers. Example, let's say 3000 subcarriers. So each subcarrier carries a small portion of the data. And since each subcarrier covers a narrow frequency range, the channel conditions remains almost constant for that small range. For example, this way. This will remain constant for these smaller subcarriers. And how does OFDM benefits us? It simplifies channel estimation. Instead of estimating the entire 100 MHz at once, the system only needs to estimate the channel for each subcarrier, which is much easier. If certain subcarriers experience interference of weak signal conditions like these ones, because it is facing low SNR channel, the system can avoid sending the data on those subcarriers. As mentioned earlier, channel estimation and equalization is difficult in wider bandwidth and easier in narrow bandwidth. Let's see the reason of using OFDM in 5G NR also. If X is transmitted signal and Y is the received signal, a simple AWGN channel is represented as Y is equals to X plus N. In OFDM system, the received signal Y is influenced by the transmitted signal, the effect of the channel which we will represent as H, and the noise of the system. So mathematically, this is represented as Y is equals to Hx plus N. This means that the transmitted signal X is either attenuated or amplified depending on the channel conditions H. In a single carrier system, H is not constant, making channel estimation very complex. In OFDM, since we divide the spectrum into multiple subcarriers, each subcarrier experiences a near constant H, making it easier to estimate. So for the ith subcarriers, for example, we have multiple subcarriers. For ith subcarriers, the equation simplifies to this. Yi is equals to Hi into Xi plus N. Since the noise N is independent across subcarriers, this approach significantly simplifies channel estimation. Now, what is equalization and how do we do it in case of OFDM? So, equalization is the process of removing the channel effect to recover the original signal. Since we know that Yi is equals to Hi plus Ni, we can reverse the effect of channel by dividing this particular equation by, or the received signal by Hi. This will give us this particular signal. Yi by Hi will be equals to Xi plus N by Hi. This process removes the channel distortion, making it easier to retrieve the original data. This technique is called zero forcing. We will talk about it in future, and is one of the major benefits of OFDM. OFDM also allows adaptive modulation and coding, that is changing modulation scheme based on the SNR conditions or channel conditions. So how does AMC work? the receiver calculates SNR for each subcarrier. We know that this SNR in this case will be equals to, it will be equals to HI square if the power of Xi is P and power of noise is equals to sigma square. This will be equals to this. Let's say sigma square we consider as N naught. So the SNR will be equals to, for a subcarrier, mod of HI square into P by N naught. So the receiver calculates SNR for each subcarrier, and instead of sending SNR for every subcarrier, for example, for all these 3000 subcarriers, we need not to send 3000 values. The system groups subcarriers and reports an average SNR in terms of modulation and coding scheme index that we learned in second lecture. This index has the information of SNR, coding rate, and which modulation should be used. The base station uses this modulation and coding scheme, the feedback of modulation and coding scheme, to decide which users to schedule and which users to use. Now coming on to how multiple users get scheduled, let us see how OFDM does it. So OFDM enables multiple access, that is OFDMA. Another major reason why OFDM is used in 5G is that it allows multiple user access efficiently, which is orthogonal frequency division multiple access. How does OFDM work? Suppose we have multiple users and base station has to serve all those users. Base station has a specific bandwidth. The base station divides the bandwidth into different subcarriers. These are different subcarriers. Different users are assigned different sets of subcarriers based on their MCS feedback, and they get their data on respective subcarriers. Similarly, in case of uplink, all those users sends back on their respective subcarriers. This dynamic allocation ensures efficient use of bandwidth, better user experience, scalability to thousands of users, that is serving all the users simultaneously. Why OFDM is the foundation of 5G and beyond? It simplifies SNR estimation and equalization, supports adaptive modulation and coding, enables efficient multi-user access, and ensures optimal bandwidth utilization even in poor channel conditions. And even in future 6G networks, engineers are not planning to replace OFDM, highlighting its importance. So how we implement the OFDM in practice? So far, we have discussed why OFDM is essential for 5G and future wireless systems. Now let's see how OFDM is implemented in real time and why modern technology has made it feasible. Let's consider NC number of subcarriers and OFDM symbol duration be TU. Each subcarrier carries one information symbol. This means NC subcarriers, we can put NC QAM symbols on each. These symbols are continuously arranged in time. They are converted from serial to parallel, and each parallel stream is assigned to a specific subcarriers. What do we mean by assigning each parallel stream to specific subcarriers? It means symbol is multiplied by e to the power j2 pi f0 t. This shifts the frequency of the symbol a0 to f0. This is valid for TU duration, and M represents mth OFDM symbol, this M. Also the subcarrier spacing, that is F1, or if we say here F1 minus F0 is equals to delta F. Similarly, F2, that is second subcarrier minus first subcarrier is also equals to delta F. Subcarrier or this A0 is shifted to F0. Subcarrier 1 symbol shifts to F1, and similarly subcarrier NC symbol shifts to a frequency that is F NC minus 1. This ensures that subcarrier occupies its own frequency slot in the spectrum. If you see overall, this x0t is equals to a0m, this is mth, multiplied by e to the power j2 pi f0 t. Similarly, this x1 is equals to a1m e to the power j2 pi f1 t. And similarly, we have x nc minus 1 equals to a nc minus 1 e to the power j 2 pi f nc minus 1 into t. Each OFDM symbol has a fixed duration. So overall, if you see, the value of xt will be equals to sigma from I is equals to 0 to nc minus 1 ai e to the power j 2 pi fi t. So each OFDM symbol has a fixed duration of tu and is equals to 1 by delta f. Remember this thing. This is very important relation. Delta f is equals to 1 by tu. That is the difference between subcarriers. That is delta f is equals to 1 by tu. And this relation ensures orthogonality between different subcarriers. This means if one subcarrier completes one cycle, the next subcarrier must complete 2 cycles. The next, that is F3, should complete 3 cycles and so on. Then this ensures that each subcarrier signal cancels out at the integration interval. Mathematically, this is represented by this particular case. So, this means if we multiply 2 subcarrier signals and integrate over one OFDM symbol duration, that is tu, the result must be equals to 0. This means each subcarrier contributes only to its own data and there is no interference from others. This equation will only be a non-zero value if this k and this k is equal. Otherwise, it will be equals to 0. Now, let's go to the receiver side of it. See how orthogonality helps in data recovery. Let us write the value of xt. It will help us understand the things. So, we have xt which was transmitted is equals to sigma n is equals, or this I is equals to 0 to nc minus 1 xi e to the power j 2 pi fi t. So OFDM receive signal is RT is equals to xt plus nt. At the transmitter, all subcarriers are combined into a single signal xt, and at the receiver signal is RT is equals to xt plus nt, where nt is noise. So we have RT. To extract data from a specific subcarrier, it is multiplied by an exponential term, that is e to the power minus j 2 pi f naught t. Similarly, same RT is multiplied by all the exponentials and each are integrated over symbol duration tu. Due to orthogonality, only the desired subcarrier's data remain. That means at this output, since as I have told from the previous slide, that is this xt contains the submission from different exponentials, and if it is multiplied by f0 and integrated for single time duration tu, then the output will only be a0, rest will cancels out. This is what orthogonality is. This simple operation enables the receiver to separate all subcarriers and retrieve the transmitted data accurately. Earlier, all these operations had to be done using analog circuits. Implementing multiplication, integration and separation in the analog domain was complex and expensive. But if we see the value of xt, it is equals to this. So either you use NC-1 mixers, or that NC mixers, or take IFFT of QAM symbols. The output is exactly same, and that is what is used in OFDM transmitter and receiver in 4G and beyond generation. What do we mean by it? If we have A0 to ANC-1 symbols, either we have NC mixers and or we can take IFFT of this. Both will give me this value. So let's revisit the OFDM transmitter and receiver, but with IFFT and FFT operations for efficiency. So again, we have NC symbols. We convert them from serial to parallel. This time, instead of all those multipliers, we just take n point IDFT or IFFT. The value of n is usually in power of 2 and just greater than NC, because FFT is implemented efficiently using powers of 2, that is 512, 1024, 2048 points. Sometimes the system does not use all the subcarriers. Example, out of 4096 subcarriers, for example, if you are taking 4096 point FFT and we have only 3000 symbols, so we will only use 3000. The rest are set to zeros and they are unused subcarrier. This reduces computational complexity while still maintaining efficient transmission. So N and NC have some differences. We put N minus NC zeros and take IFFT. The output is converted from parallel to serial and passed through digital to analog converter. At the receiving side, the signal is sampled at a rate Ts. The sampled signal is converted from serial to parallel. Next, we take N point FFT. This N is same what is used at transmitter for IFFT, which gives NC symbols on first NC frequencies, and remaining subcarriers where we send 0 values remain unused. This entire process is done in real time using DSPs and FPGAs. So first NC symbols are converted from parallel to serial, and this is what we receive. Let's focus on the sampling rate. Let's focus on the sampling rate of received OFDM symbol ones. Since RT represents one OFDM symbol, hence RT has N symbols. In this case, NC actual symbols and rest are zeros, but can have maximum N symbols and is of duration TU. So ideally, we should sample it at a rate such that this TU duration, we should get N samples. So once we get N sample, this will go for N point FFT, and each N point on output of FFT will carry one symbol. Hence, if we say TS, that is sampling duration, this will be equals to TU by N. Why? Because we have total TU time and we want N samples out of that TU time. This will be equals to further 1 upon N into delta F. Why? Because TU is equals to 1 by delta F. Do make a note of it. We will use this in future lectures. So if you see overall from lecture 1, adaptive modulation and coding enables 5G to efficiently achieve all the points of capacity curve. This means we are able to send as much data as supported by channel. After AMC, hybrid ARQ techniques enables system to send correct data, otherwise it is sent again until not received correctly. And finally, after achieving data rate and correct data, OFDM allows us to serve multiple users simultaneously without interference. From the next lecture, we will now look into specifics of 5G that is what is the value of delta f in 5G and how it is used for multiple use cases. Thank you.